Touch one. Touch one. One Africa. One nation. That's what it's about, comrades. I want to appreciate everyone for coming out to the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement Sunday Rally. We want to appreciate you online. We're located at 4101 West Florissant on the corner of West Florissant Alley. So if you're in St. Louis, we're here from 3 to 5 p.m. today and every Sunday that we have the rallies. These rallies are brought to you by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, which was formed by the African People's Socialist Party in 1991-92. This week, our theme is going to focus on a year review. So we're going to look at the lessons from the front line, a year of review with InPDUM. Now, we want to make that clear. That's InPDUM. That's the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. So we're going to hear from InPDUM forces throughout the country. And if we have them online, we're going to have some from Africa too. Is that right, Comrade President? All right, sounds good. So, and we'll highlight some of the work that we've done here. And like I said, in places like New York, the West Coast, and on the continent of Africa as well. So before we go any further with the program, we're going to ask everyone to stand and we're going to sing the African Nation Fight song. You'll see it on our screen. If you're in the audience, you'll see it on the screen. And if you're online, you'll see it on the screen as well. Uhuru.
Africa, we are winning. Shout Uhuru for our freedom. We are winning. We'll dance and sing songs when revolution's won. We are winning. Africa's best. fight like Fannie Lou and Malcolm too. We are winning. Remember our struggle, always be true. We are winning. From Harlem to Brazil to Azania, we are winning. We fight and live for free Africa. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning. Patrice Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are winning.
These relate to Africa. One Africa. One nation. Ooh, that's what it's about. Appreciate you, comrades. Appreciate the African Nation fight song filled with so much political fire. So next we're going to have a little political education, and we're going to read from the Revolutionary National Democratic Program of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Now this week we will read 2 points, point 13 and point 14, and hopefully we will be able to tie all this in when we come to discuss the work and learning the lessons from the front line from the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, as it's a year in review for 2025. Point 13, this is applied African internationalism. We demand the recognition of the rights of return for all African people displaced and dispersed from Africa by slavery, colonialism, and other attacks on Africa as a whole by imperialism. We call on all existing African governments to demand protection for and protest violations of the rights of African people living in European-dominated countries around the world. And so with some of the work that we're going to show that the International People's Democratic Movement has done this year, some of these points will be addressed in one way or the other. So when we talk about, for example, we demand the right of recognition for us to return home, because we know we got one Africa, one nation. We one African people, we got one African continent. E's relate to Africa. So that means one Africa. So that's our right, that's our motherland. We were stole from there, and we were displaced and dispersed throughout the United States, more than 100 countries in total. And we have the right to return to our motherland and pick up the struggle as we need to pick it up and see fit. And we also want to talk about these governments and on the continent of Africa, because we know that most of them, more than 90% of them are neo-colonists, right? They sell out from the top. So at least they can have pay lip service to a degree to say that, we demand that African people be protected and have the right to even travel to different countries inside of the continent of Africa. I know one of the things that may come out of the discussion is some of the struggles that's been going on in Tanzania, South Africa, and this is on other parts of the continent too, in terms of the borders, you see. So who's an African? You can't be an African if you're from Namibia and you go into South Africa, Tanzania, you're not the same kind of African or something of that nature. You know how that division of rule, the divide and conquer, and play all these psychological games to you on your mind and things of that nature. So this is just some of the stuff that goes on the continent of Africa, but it's also some of the stuff that the governments are complicit with. They aren't doing anything, but yeah, you're right, because you Africans coming from Uganda to Tanzania, South Africa, y'all taking the jobs from the local people here and things of that nature. And of course, we know that the continent of Africa is in such a condition that people, if they don't have jobs or unemployed, it's not because they're going from one border to the next. It's because the continent of Africa is tied to colonialism, imperialism, and the neo-colonists are benefiting all the resources from the land for the most part, and the toiling masses suffer living in shanty towns and things of that nature. When Africa has all the riches and resources in the world, to have the most magnificent of everything, plus some. So we just wanted to take a little time to talk about the political education itself. And we also got a moment or two that we can maybe open it up for some discussion. And remember, those of you online, we do have a chat moderator. So if you have some questions, you can put it in the chat. And if we see it in timely, hopefully we'll be able to get to it and entertain those questions. And also let us know where you're tuning in from as you're online. Because like I say, this is international movement, and we got forces throughout the country and the world who will be participating this week with this particular rally. So did anyone want to ask a question, have any comments to add on to the political education? You do? Okay. I thought that was the baby. She's talking already.
Uhuru, comrade,
Uhuru.
I believe the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement is one of the most amazing ideas that's come out of the Uhuru movement, because it gives everybody the opportunity to have a voice in their own freedom and participate and know how to participate, because we have a leadership that is well read and well owned by the people. Uhuru.
And we want to recognize and appreciate our Chairman Omali Yeshitela. He slipped in on me, moved stealthily, see, but no. And he is the founder of the Uhuru movement, the founder of the African People's Social Party, and the founder of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. Chairman, would you like to say anything right quick?
Well, Uhuru, I really didn't. Thank you, comrade. I really didn't anticipate saying that much. I'm always overwhelmed by the children, and I think they kind of know that. And I think they play on that. But I really appreciate the political education that was done. And I don't know if people are aware, but just recently, Algeria has made a claim for reparations. And for 130 years of French colonial domination. And it's much more than that, actually. And it's going to be really interesting trying to calculate exactly the amount of resources that's been stolen from Africa. And, we talk about this when considering the attack on the most recent expression of aggression against Venezuela, where they actually kidnapped the president of that country. And some people find that astonishing, but Africans shouldn't. Uh, we represent the largest kidnapped body of human beings on earth. The fact that we are here in the United States is a consequence of kidnapping. It's not like we voluntarily decided as Africans that we were going to move to the United States. Somebody kidnapped us. And that's why it's really important for us to be able to recognize what Comrade Nkrumah was talking about, the silliness that we see coming from parts of Africa, where we hear people talking about how economic problems are a consequence of people coming across the borders, one border to the other border.
Right.
When the ultimate economic contradiction is the borders themselves.
Yeah.
The borders themselves are what separate African people in different parts of Africa from the totality of our resources. There's no way, for example, there's no unified African government that can say, well, we've had uranium over here, we've got cocoa over here, we've got this resource over here, and if we use them this way, we can make something positive for ourselves. The only one who make those kinds of plans about resources in Africa are the colonizers. They can plan their own economies in France based on knowing that they can get this from this part of Africa, this from this part of Africa, this from the African people in the Caribbean, etc. Africa does not have that ability, and that's what this movement is about, to re-achieve the ability for Africa to have possession of our own resources, including human resources, which is African people ourselves. We are the greatest treasure that was taken from our Africa, or the African people ourselves, dispersed around the world. And it's part of our revolutionary obligation is to return this treasure to Africa and to the service of Africa and African people. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to remind everybody here that the most important thing that you can do between now and April 17th is work to get as many African people as you can right here to St. Louis, where we'll be conducting the plenary of the African People's Socialist Party, international plenary, where people, African people from around the world will be participating in this plenary, where we'll be laying out our understanding of Africa, the role of African people, the situation of African people in the world, and what it is that concretely that we can do about it. Because the fact is that there are a lot of people who talk better than we talk. But the thing is not just about talking. I had an uncle who used to always say that a conversation is the cheapest commodity on the block. Everybody's got one. It's just another way of saying talk is cheap. So it's the relationship between thinking and doing, talking and actually making something happen. That's the fundamental thing that we're involved in, and that's what you see in the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, and InPDUM itself as an expression of doing something about it. So thank you. I just wanted to make those comments and salute my little baby up here who's trying to out-talk me. And I appreciate that. All right, comrades. Uhuru.
All right. Uhuru, thank you, Chairman. Appreciate that. So there's nothing else from the audience, or is there?
Uhuru, I just wanted to unite with the political education as well, and really what the chairman was saying about, the greatest, the most valuable right entity that was stolen from Africa was us. As I was reading the point, and I was just thinking that, everybody's got to get passports, you got to get visas, you got to do all this stuff. And Africa is our home.
That's what it is.
And we should have the ability to be able to go. I've never been, and I'm just thinking about, those that have been, and just the feeling of being at home,
Mm.
that we all should have the ability to be able to experience that, not at the colonizers, whim, at their permission, you know what I'm saying? Uhuru.
Uhuru.
I just want to say that I think it's really important when we talk about what has been stolen from Africa, what is owed to Africa. It's really not extremely difficult upon reflection to calculate that. When you see the paved streets in this country, when you see the wealth in this country, when you see it in Amsterdam, or when you see it in various other parts of Europe, when you see what we are developing in places like Brazil, even, et cetera, all of those places, that's the consequence of African wealth. That's African wealth, but Africa does not have access to it. If you look at when people want to talk about, I think what is it, $131 trillion or so, the gross domestic product or something? And I don't think the U.S. produces that much, but I know that's calculated as part of the wealth of the United States. It's about the same amount of the debt, the United States debt, which is around 130 some odd trillion dollars. And that's African resources. African labor created that on indigenous resources, and they just stole it. And like they say, we're going to go in here and steal oil. Instead, what they do is say that the people from whom we plan to steal oil stole it from us. You know, there was a president of the United States, his name was Theodore Roosevelt. They called him Teddy. In fact, you have that little bear, teddy bear. It's named for him. And he made this honest statement. I think he was talking about Panama. And he said, it's ours. We stole it fair and square. We stole it fair and square. And that's what we are looking at. And increasingly, they don't say we stole it, but that's exactly what has happened. So it's an incredible historical moment. I'm so excited by this point in history because as aggressive as the social system, this country is moving toward all the peoples in the world, including peoples right here inside this country, it's a profound statement of weakness. You don't have to do that if you have strength. You just don't have to do it. You don't have to attack your own philosophical foundation. They're attacking themselves, like cannibalizing everything that they say is critical to what this country is about, according to them. It's an amazing moment, and our responsibility is to be organized. We should never be satisfied with the turnout that we have in these meetings. Never, never, never be satisfied. And we have to ask ourselves what it is that we have to do, can do, should do, must do to get people here, to bring them into not only political consciousness, but political consciousness that can be reflected in carrying on the work to make African people free here and every place else. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, Chairman. And so, if there is no further further discussion on the political education, we can move forward with the rest of the program, and where we will be recapping the year, lessons from the front line, a year in review with InPDUM. So we have several comrades who will be joining us via the Zoom link, and they will be reporting on some of their work, and we're about to hear from them right now. So first that we're going to hear from the Midwest rep of the International People's Democratic Movement, who is the representative also with the African People's Socialist Party. And his name is Kabula Mutumbo, and he lives in Chicago. He works out of Chicago, but we sometimes tease him that he'd be down to St. Louis so often. It's like he moved her. But that just shows his willingness to do the work on the ground that it calls for under that particular type of position that he has. So we want to hear from our brother comrade. And after that, we'll come back and say it again. But we'll hear from Chicago, Africa. We have an African update. Then we're going to hear from the northern region, from the rep there in New Jersey. And then we should have some updates from the southern region. the Western region as well. And then we'll be looking on the way forward for the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. That's our lineup coming up. Uhuru?
Who's gonna be here from Africa? Where? From South Africa? Where?
Where is he? Is he from? West Africa?
They sent over PowerPoint.
Oh, it's
Oh.
PowerPoint, okay, because it's gonna be really late, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
If they're gonna be, they need to be on
Yeah.
early,
Yeah.
right away, but, okay.
Okay, so first up, Comrade Kabula.
Uhuru.
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 Thank you for that introduction. I'm Kabula Mutombo, Midwest Region representative of the African People's Socialist Party, and also president of InPDUM Chicago. And here's some of the work we did over 2025. Let me share my presentation. First off, we have our chapter, myself, there's Tasha as Secretary, Zenobia as Economic Development, Jay Nation is Membership, and Maurice Lyons covering Outreach. Maurice is a avid Spear reader. He reads every Spear cover to cover and is enthusiastic to get out into the community with it. So we know NPDOM is to win self-determination in the African community. Back in April, we commemorated the 34th anniversary of the founding of NPDOM, which happened in 1991 in Chicago at Malcolm X College. Also in May, we rallied Hands Off Africa, Hands Off Captain Ibrahim Traore. Here are some of the photos. We were downtown, also with Cam Howard and other members of the community who came out and stood tall. You can see us with saying "Touch one, touch all, one Africa, one nation." Throughout the summer, in preparation for the NPDOM convention, we want to we want to go beyond the seated there table and build our own. We had teachings. We talked about the summer project, the historical summer project, going beyond the, just voting in the, not just two seats when everybody tired, and going beyond, our own self-determination instead of relying on a imperialist Democratic Party. More recently, we want people to imagine and build a liberated Black Chicago, from going beyond the presidential threats to Black community power. We have a Know Your Rights campaign with Know Your Rights cards and posters. Also political education posters that are going up and being proudly displayed around the city. And also presenting our Black Sanctuary City resolution and our Black Community Control of the Police resolution. Here's some of the Black Community Control of the Police posters that we have. And we want to go, in Springfield, Illinois, Wichita, Detroit, Indiana, Wisconsin, and beyond. Again, to win the community to self-determination. Here's some of the outreach that we did, especially with the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, and other preparation for other celebrations such as African Martyrs Day, African Liberation Day, and of course, our regular Sunday rallies So that's it. That's going beyond that. We do I unite with the chairman's call. We do have to have greater engagement with the community, really mobilizing and working, getting out in the community. Better outreach, and figuring out what works. Some of our members are like long-term members. Some have the party had a strong presence in the 90s, and J. Sean um, joined back then. Other members learned about the movement through the economic development projects. The Uhuru Foods and Pies had a booth in Chicago, and people are still remember that, and are still one to the movement right now. So Uhuru, that's just some of the work in Chicago. Uhuru.
Uhuru!
All right. Oh, Uhuru, comrade, thank you so much for that presentation. Do we have the presentation for Africa?
Yes.
Uhuru, right on. So Africa's been quite busy building. In Sierra Leone, the Uhuru movement has been in Sierra Leone for many years, and this is out in West Africa under the leadership of Comrade Morlai, and they've seen the kind of consistency that was missed in the initial phase of organizing out there in West Africa. This is you can see a meeting that they had put together there locally. So I want to give a shout out to the InPDUM comrades out there in Sierra Leone. Uhuru. And also this is here part of their efforts in terms of the pre-convention meeting that happened earlier um, mid to late last year in anticipation of the impediment convention. Or over there on Sierra Leone, Kono, Comrade Fenty leads the Cocoa branch and has recently organized the local executive committee of impediment right there in Kono. So right on, there's a lot of building and development that's happening, and that continues to happen there on the continent. Or Southern Africa's been doing a lot. Right on. Southern Africa. These are images of the pre-convention conference that they had held um, ahead of the impediment convention, where members of impediment and the community were pulled into this process. Or and after the conference, these are some of the pictures. In the Kokosi branch, LEC has established a car wash service as an economic development program for the young people in the community. And so these happen regularly. Uhuru. The Kokosi branch has also held a summer fitness campaign, getting comrades in the community fit for revolution. Uhuru. And they also have a project through Pukani to deal with the Kokosi water and waste crisis. This is part of the effort of self-reliance, doing for self, and also showing to the community out there that we can change the conditions ourselves. We don't need to wait on a government that will never do anything for us. Or Msogo Wapa branch, the LC has been doing a lot of work this recent past year. Or It also includes the agricultural projects where these comrades are growing a capacity to feed ourselves as a people. And so, in South Africa, the settlers still own something like 80% of the land. And so African people, the masses, are locked inside these horrible conditions of townships and things like that. And so this is part of the effort of overturning these conditions. It's what building Black Power looks like, Uhuru. The Everton West Branch LEC has also been very quite busy, Uhuru. And the Uhuru movement goes to the Marikani Uhuru. This is the LEC of the Winoki branch of InPDUM Uhuru. And as well as their delightful children's program. So some of the resolutions coming out of Africa is to register InPDUM Sierra Leone and South Africa, to advance the InPDUM membership drive, to build branches by initiating outreach, number one, and hold weekly rallies like we do here, and as well as to continue to build and develop the community socio-economic programs and the continue building of the project of Thukukani in South Africa, or occupied as land. All right, right on. That is Uhuru. Did the comrade send over a video?
For New York, I have for the southern region, I have a video, yes.
Okay. Can you put that on?
Okay.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. My name is Osehene Asandwe. I serve the African working class as a professional revolutionary in the role of Southern Regional Director of Organization under the leadership of our Southern Regional Representative, Jainaba Lumumba. I salute our Chairman Omali Yeshitela and all members of the National Central Committee. I also salute all African internationalist revolutionaries under the banner of the African Socialist International, especially the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. The Southern Region salutes President Lukade and his mandate to snickify mass movement organization. I also salute former President of InPDUM, Dr. Matsamela Odom, whose leadership guided many of the campaigns we will be speaking about today. In 2025, the Southern region of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement intensified its work to confront colonial state violence and build African working class power across multiple fronts. Our organizing was strategic, political, and rooted in an understanding that policing, incarceration, and displacement are instruments of colonial domination used to suppress African self-determination. Across the South, we intervened where the state's violence was most concentrated, in our neighborhoods, our communities, and our public institutions. Our campaigns in 2025 included Stop Colonial Cop City with Black community control of the police, the Fight for Justice for Tyrone Bartley, and Justice for Troy Dorsey campaign. Each of these struggles reflects a different expression of the same colonial system, and each represents a front in the broader fight for African self-determination and community control. Today's presentation is an overview of a coordinated political offensive against colonial repression in the Southern region. These campaigns show how InPDUM is building mass organization by educating people in their everyday struggles. On July 19, 2025, InPDUM held the Stop Colonial Cop City with Black community control of the police event at Independence Regional Library in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Stop Colonial Cop City event was a political intervention grounded in African internationalism. It exposed Charlotte's so-called first responder training facility as a domestic counterinsurgency base, a colonial military installation designed to suppress African resistance, not protect our communities. Dr. Matsamela Odom, president of InPDUM, served as the keynote speaker and made clear that Black community control of the police is a material and achievable process. We stop Cop City by seizing control of city budget. The mayor controls police funding, and over $300 million is being poured into policing instead of schools, childcare, housing, jobs, healthcare, and community resources. Our strategy is to build African working class political power by running African internationalist candidates who understand that community safety comes from meeting human needs, not militarized occupation. This event organized African people around revolutionary program to dismantle colonial policing and build dual power through Black community control of the police. From this event, we won 2 pro-independence forces into the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Organizers for this event were President Matsamela Odom, Hakeem Jihad, Steve Nelson, Aaron Smith, Comrade Kanji, as well as myself, Osahene Asamdwe. Also on August 16th of 2025, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement held a political education in Orlando, Florida, around the police killing of Tyrone Bartley, a 32-year-old African man who was shot and killed in Orange County, who was shot and killed by Orange County deputies during a militarized SWAT raid on his home. Bartley was not the target of the original investigation. Deputies entered a multi-tenant residence under the cover of a narcotics warrant tied to another tenant. Within seconds of forced entry, police opened fire, killing Tyrone inside of his own home. As in so many cases, the state justified the execution using its own narrative while refusing transparency and accountability. From an African internationalist perspective, Tyrone Bartley's killing is not a mistake. It is the predictable outcome of colonial policing operating as a domestic military force inside African communities. This political education exposed the role of SWAT raids as tools of counterinsurgency and organized African people around the demand for African control of the police. From this event, InPDUM secured 2 political contacts and 1 potential recruit. This campaign was led by Comrade Chukwu Demaga, as well as Comrade Siaka Toure. Lastly, justice for Troy Dorsey. Troy Dorsey was a 41-year-old African man who died in the custody of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department on October 3rd, 2024, after being arrested during a routine traffic stop for a defective headlight and tag issue. What began as a minor stop escalated into arrest, incarceration, and ultimately death at the hands of the colonial state. After being booked into the Pinellas County Jail at 4:55 a.m., Troy Dorsey showed clear signs of medical distress. He began vomiting repeatedly, defecated while vomiting, and later suffered a seizure, a life-threatening medical emergency. Jail staff acknowledged the seizure but failed to transport him to the hospital. Instead, he was restrained, moved through the facility, and left under observation. Only after he was found unresponsive was 911 finally called. He was pronounced dead at 7:27 a.m. The sheriff's department labeled his death an accident, and the medical examiner ruled the cause of death as cocaine toxicity with heart disease as a contributing condition. But from an African internationalist perspective, Troy Dorsey did not die from drugs. He died from state negligence. Once the jail recognized a medical emergency, they had a legal and moral obligation to provide immediate hospital care. They chose containment over care, restraint over treatment, and cost control over human life. This case exposes the reality of colonial incarceration. African people are treated as security threats, not human beings. Medical crises are handled through repression, isolation, and control instead of emergency care. Pretrial detainees who have not been convicted of any crime are allowed to die in cages. Following a directive from the National Director of Organization, Chimurenga Selembao, the Southern Region adopted the Troy Dorsey case for political action in December 2025. This campaign is ongoing and continues to expand. Its purpose is to expose the Pinellas County Sheriff Department as a colonial institution, build mass organization in St. Petersburg, Florida, and fight for independent investigation, public accountability, and an end to deaths in custody. We are calling on InPDUM to endorse this campaign nationally and to assist with the campaign budget so this struggle can be taken to scale. This campaign has strong potential to bring in new contacts, develop cadre, and recruit new party members through direct engagement with the African working class. Troy Dorsey's death is not an isolated incident. It's the predictable outcome of a system designed to police, contain, and dispose of African people under colonial capitalism. We say justice for Troy Dorsey. We say justice for Tyron Bartley. And we say an end to Stop Cop Cities. The Southern Region stands committed to building African working class power through organized struggle, police education, and mass mobilization. These campaigns are not isolated fights. They are fronts in a single war for African self-determination and liberation. Forward to African independence, liberation, in our lifetime. Uhuru.
Uhuru, yeah, I want to appreciate the work coming out of the Southern region and the Black community control of the police, as well as the Black People's Grand Jury. And and all these tools that can be used to bring the people in and then do political education right there on the spot and things like that. Yeah, and PDUM does support the work. And we'll make sure to get in touch with the Southern region and help with their efforts. Uhuru. Coming up next is Comrade Matamela with the Red Western region. Uhuru, Comrade. You'll need to unmute if you're speaking. Uhuru, I don't know if you can put in the chat, Comrade Kabula. Uh, Uhuru. Uh, I think the comrade is trying to solve some mic contradictions. Oh, okay, you're on. You got it.
I'm here. Just
Okay, fine.
was just a little bit earlier, so that's all. Hello everybody. It's Matsamela, um, uh, Director of Cadre Development, African People's Socialist Party, past president of the International Democratic Uhuru Movement. I've taken part of the Sunday rally, and speaking of the work that had been taking place on the West Coast. 2025 was a very important year for the um, International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement because we had celebrated last year the 40th anniversary of the forming of the People's Democratic Uhuru Movement here in California on the West Coast. For myself, a person who multiple times throughout my political life had met the work of the Uhuru Movement, it had always been through the mass work, primarily the National People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and subsequently the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. For us, um, just as like I said, celebrating Oakland in 1985, the formation of the People's Democratic Platform and the People's Democratic Uhuru Movement was important. I want to begin this presentation by saluting Chairman Omali Shatella, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, as well as President Luka um, Maku and all his leadership he's brought to the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and this dynamic presentation of our work and our year in review. As noted, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, the formal formation date that we uphold is the April 6, 1991 formation of the National People's Democratic Uhuru Movement in Chicago, Illinois. And you saw the work of the Midwest International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement taking place right now, and that's absolutely important because Chicago, we know, was the site of the um, uh, murder of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, December 1969, as well as the site of the founding convention for the National People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. And Akur and Jerry, the widow of Fred Hampton, was the first president of InPDUM. So that's absolutely important. But we also know that InPDUM, as a mass expression of the African People's Socialist Party, was organized to as a part of the process of reviving and completing the Black Power movement. So just in my own work and research and even political life, really saluting the work that came out of the West Coast, because we know that it was April 6, 1968, that little Bobby Hutton, the youngest founding member of the Black Panther Party, was assassinated. And we see, and then when you look at the work of the Uhuru movement in California. The Uhuru movement first came into California in 1978, for the most part, in its long continued presence all the way to today, organizing against mass incarceration of African people, the death penalty, things like that. And that stuff led towards the 1981 formation of the first Uhuru House and the subsequent Uhuru House, 1984, the one that still stands in Oakland. All that is very important for my own political life because of the fact that it was that whorehouse that I, as a young kid, me and some other people had come across, and at that time we were told it was the Black Panther Party headquarters. We were young, and in many ways we know it wasn't the Panthers headquarters, but I think it really speaks towards the importance of the Uhuru movement on the West Coast, reviving and completing and continuing that struggle, that torch being passed. We know that. So last year there was a lot of important work that we embarked upon. Want to salute our sister organization, African National Women's Organization, for whom which we've partnered with a lot of work here in San Diego, beginning with African Martyrs Day. Last year was the 60th anniversary of the martyrdom of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X. So we held events, a reef hanging, documentary screening, community discussions for Malcolm. Also, a lot of work around the field of education. So I really want to salute the work that we did there, holding community forums in Long Beach and Los Angeles, and also in San Diego, around the question of education, arguing that we know that we can educate ourselves, responding to Trump's attacks on DEI and putting forth the demand to build Black community control of education. Subsequent to that, we know that InPDUM played an active role in building for African Liberation Day here in San Diego. This was our fourth continuous African Liberation Day that we organized here in San Diego at the World Beat Center. A very dynamic event, which is still bringing fruit to the APSP as well as to the mass organizations in PDM and subsequent organizations here. Um, Impedum was happy to send a number of comrades to the Impedum convention this year, of which we really we saw the appointment of a new Impedum president, and Impedum on the West Coast is really excited to put forward the platform, the sort of call to both codify and snickify the work of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. One thing that we know in Pedum on the West Coast have is we have a very favorable weather, and for that reason, year-round ability to be out there with the people. Coming out of that, later on in the fall, Impedum members participated in the West Coast a mini intensive that was held here in San Diego, which included a community rally. Like I said, Impedum is moving back towards establishing an office here in San Diego, California. We also have brought in new members to do the work of the party as well as the movement in Northern California, looking to revive our presence in Oakland, California, where we have new members coming into the party. We have members who are involved in impeding work, reinitiating and work as well. But here in San Diego, what we do is we take those Sunday rallies straight to the people on the intersection of Euclid and Imperial. And our most recent Sunday rally was very successful, bringing in recruits even into the party as well as to the work of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. One program that we run out west that I'm really excited to continue, we call it the Black Working Class Film Series, in which we take a series of progressive African films. We hold community forums around them, we view them, and then we sum them up in political work. Coming up this month, we'll be watching a film called Queimada, which looks at it came out in 1969, and it looks at anti-colonial revolution as well as colonialism and neocolonialism in the Caribbean, and it's going to be a good film to talk about the way forward around questions around Venezuela, U.S. imperialism, and Caribbean and Latin American things of that sort. But that's some of the work that we do out here out west. We're really excited about continuing and growing in this a moment of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. All right, Uhuru, thank you.
Uhuru, thank you so much for that, Comrade Matamela. And we really appreciate all the work that's being done there out on the West Coast. And we're jealous of the weather that y'all have. Right on. Okay. I don't know if we've gotten if we've been able to get in contact with the comrades that's out there in New York in terms of the what's going on there in that region.
Uhuru, I do have a video and PowerPoint.
Uhuru, right on. Thank you.
Community. Oh no, this no longer gonna be our community. Let's get organized. Let's step up and defend our people. Because when the black community is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Touch one. Touch all. Touch one. Touch all. Who means? Freedom. So everything here is organic. Every Thursday we do a table and an organic food giveaway for the people in this community. And this community is lacking institutions that have healthy food or organic food. There's no supermarket in this area. Right now we're in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Brownsville right down the block. We're like on the borderline. So that's why we're growing food here. We got some potatoes, got some asparagus right here. Asparagus growing right here.
Uhuru, I just want to say that for today's menu, it's from the garden to the table, and we did eggplant. I can show you some of the eggplants that we have here in the garden. Also, all the seasonings is coming from the garden. So just to show people that you could plant your own food and cook your own food, so you know you're eating well. Thank you.
Uhuru. But the theory to practice, you know. That's one! When the black community is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! Touch one! Touch all! Touch one! Touch all!
I've been involved with the organization for a little while now, and I prefer this organization because I believe that the political line that it has, I think it's the best line. I mean, I really, looked at other organizations I've been involved. I help with other organizations, that solidarity work, all that kind of stuff. But nothing really touches the Uhuru movement. Nothing touches the politics of the Uhuru movement. And I feel that this is what needs to be put out to the masses, to bring them back into political life.
I would say that if any Africans that are looking for a forward-thinking, progressive organization that is actually going to change the material conditions of African people, InPDUM, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, is the organization to be in. We've been working to free African people, to get independence and self-determination for African people for over the last 60 years. Our chairman has created one of the most advanced revolutionary theories in the world by the name of African internationalism. It seeks to destroy the colonial mode of production, the thing that actually made the economic system that we live under a worldwide economic system. So we We're asking all African people, no matter where they are, whether they're in the United States, whether they're in the Caribbean, whether they're in the motherland. We are Garveyites. We believe that if we got on the boat as Africans, we got off the boat as Africans. So we're asking all African people, no matter where they are in the world, to join us in our struggle for self-determination and independence and freedom in our lifetime. Uhuru.
Health and food security is key to our empowerment. So I salute the Uhuru movement for being out here, doing their thing, educating the people, trying to stimulate the people to be more involved in their liberation and their self-determination.
Where we out here today is trying to organize our community to get involved in the process of self-determination. That means getting organized for power. We see that our whole community around the world is under attack by colonialism, white power, by capitalism. And we see these colonizers taking space up in our community, and we have to resist. We plan to own and have liberated territory so the African people can grow our own food, healthy organic food, and we don't have to depend on our enemy to feed us, to house us, and clothe us. That's not a good position to be in when you have to depend on your enemy for your life survival. And we want to do more than survive, we want to prosper. We want to be independent. We want to have black power. We want to have black self-determination. And we also want to see that Africa itself, which is on the move today by young Africans all over the continent, fighting out for self-determination and freedom and independence for African people on our continent. That Africa belongs to African people all over the world.
Uhuru. Right on. Let's give a hand. And that's just one of the many things that they're doing out there in New York. I know that they have a Bread, Peace, and Black Power campaign. The community garden is part of that effort. But they're also dealing with Black community control of housing, Black community control of the police, and so much more. So Uhuru, and right on. All right, is that all the areas, all the regions? I think so.
Yeah, just St. Louis and then your presentation.
Okay. Where are you doing, St. Louis? All right. I don't know if somebody here had want to sum up 2025 for St. Louis and InPDUM.
Uhuru. Touch one.
Touch all.
All right. So I don't have a slide presentation, but I'll talk through this. The International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement has been in St. Louis since the death of Mike Brown. And ever since the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement hit the ground in St. Louis, it hasn't looked back. It has been one of the organizations in this whole city that has been about the fight back and applied African internationalism. The branch that we've had in St. Louis has grown from different heights and different levels. And not to put anybody on Front Street, but we have two of the founding members here in the audience who has been with the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement since 2014, our comrade 4 Feet and our comrade Makeda. And of course, to borrow a phrase from our sister organization, that's an example of African women must lead. And they stay with the process. So last year, International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement had to regroup. We had to get some new members. We were able to get members. And for a while, we were recruiting members at least one or two a quarter throughout the whole year. Well, for the most part, from January until October, January until May, after the horrific tornado had hit. Some of the things that we did, we participated with the MLK Service Day. We had also had some participation with the, how do you call it? The, what was that? The awards.
Oh, volunteer award.
Into you, how do you call it again? Well, pardon me, I can't think of it right now. But we had did that work and participating with that. But one of the things that really got InPDUM in St. Louis kind of moving and serendipitously is when that tornado did hit. And when the tornado did hit the city of St. Louis, we know what it did. It wiped out most of the west side and north side of the city of St. Louis, and it devastated masses of African people. And so the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement, under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party and our chairman, were some of the first revolutionary forces that were on the ground doing surveillance, looking at the conditions of the people. And all hands were on deck. The day after the tornado itself, we were able to post up outside. Donations were coming in left and right, but they were coming in for the nonprofit of the organization, African People Education and Defense Fund, another sister organization that's within the movement. And we participated with that effort. This room was filled. It looked like a depot, but to give a shout out to the local president who's not here today, but Comrade Westbrook was one of the InPDUM members as a leader who was mobilizing and on the ground and at the Uhuru House religiously on the corners, passing out whatever supplies we had. We had supplies for men, women, baby, children, food, whatever it was. InPDUM under that leadership went to the Comrade sister house on the north side, who only thing she wanted was like a trash can so she can get rid of the debris. And the city wasn't able to do anything about it for whatever reason. So under the leadership with InPDUM, with another organization that we have, NINA, we were able to resolve that contradiction. And the comrade sister, she was very thankful to that. She was able to get rid of whatever debris that she could, but we couldn't do everything. So InPDUM was one of the organizations that was on the ground and helped deploy. And as a result of that, we were able to get recruitments. So this year, at least there are 2 members in the audience that I see that are a result of the efforts and the work of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. And there are more. There is even one that came in town who joined the movement, but he lives in New Orleans. But he had heard about the work of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement through our Sunday rallies. So he wanted to come up and see what all the hype was about. And he joined that week, as a matter of fact, but he's in New Orleans. So hopefully he's still staying with the work. So we can see that the reach, we are touching one and we touch all. We're local, but we act global. And that's one of the great benefits of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. And I know that we were able to organize internally. We were able to get a branch kicked off this year. We had been defunct for a while. So now we got a branch. And we have also been able to organize. And so we have been able to also organize the local executive committee that is kicked off. So we had been in somewhat of an organizational deficit, but we, righted the ship and we got that right. And we have the international president of the International Democratic Uhuru Movement, President Luca Day, who is here in St. Louis. And as been mentioned, and what will be mentioned, one of the things that's going to be the charge with the local branch of the InPDUM, and of course is going to be working nationally and internationally, is to solidify a place, get a material location, to have an office, and as he says, snickify the work. Earlier this year, of course, we did some outreach also with Juneteenth, with a couple of comrades that are here, and President Luca Day was there. And during the whole campaign to fight back, the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement put out thousands of flyers, literally thousands of flyers throughout the north side, particularly, and west side, and was inspiration to the African community. And so moving forward, we got a lot of work to do, but I think we are willing to do it, standing up to the test of time. And then we have our international leader here and a local leadership. So this branch in St. Louis should be really on the move, moving forward. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you so much for that. That was the presentation coming out of St. Louis. And I just want to give a hand to all the presentations and all the various regions here in the U.S. as well as Africa that has done incredible work over the past year. And I do also want to give it up to you all because without you, this InPDUM branch would not have been built. And so I know that we see a lot of new faces who might not have been here last year this time, but we're glad that you are here now. And so there's a lot of work to be done in terms of St. Louis InPDUM and InPDUM as a whole. Comrade Kabula, we can go ahead and I guess get started with like the way forward. Coming into 2025,
May I?
go for it, Comrade.
Yeah. I just think it's important for us to mention the place of St. Louis in the movement and what has even transpired over the last year or so. I think also I was a little disturbed because when we looked at the southern region, we didn't talk about Louisiana. And we're doing a lot of work in Louisiana and especially in New York, New Orleans and what have you. And I heard Comrade mention that there's a member that from New Orleans or something that I don't know if he's in touch with the comrades in New Orleans or not. But St. Louis has become the international headquarters of our movement. It's because of a really deep and profound appreciation that we have acquired for the African population, the African community here. It was this community that gave us an opportunity to re-inject life into the overall struggle of African people for self-determination. We've seen so many people who've been killed, like Mike Brown, all over this country. And we've seen the US government succeed in parachuting people like Jesse Jackson and like Al Sharpton to quiet the people down and to take the people into some kind of harmless or meaningless process. But here, and when I say here, I know that sometimes people don't include Ferguson as part, but I see it as a suburb. And most of the resistance that happened in Ferguson I was able to really conclude with Africans who came from St. Louis into what they call Ferguson. And so this ability to see the Africans hold the line here, hold the line right there in Ferguson, where they had succeeded so often in shutting down resistance and struggle. It reignited even in the imagination of African people throughout this country, and not just Africans throughout this country. As you remember, we were hearing from people in Palestine who were saluting the struggle of African people here. And that was happening even in people like Iran and Russia. They were sending salutations to the resistance of African people here. It's a remarkable community. It's disorganized. It's not organized to the extent it should be, but the organization capacity is here. There's a tradition here. This is the only place I know where Africans have an institution, a dynamic institution that has occurred annually for 100 years, like that Annie Malone parade. Where can you go any place in this country where African people have been conducting any kind of annual process for 100 years? But it's here. And despite what we see about the violence, the horizontal violence that occurs in our community as a consequence of colonial conditions, where you have an oppressor can determine if you're going to eat and what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat, et cetera, and therefore can create artificial contradictions in the community, just the struggle for resources that will enhance the likelihood of violence among ourselves, because we haven't been able to identify who the real enemy is. But here in St. Louis, it's been remarkable. It's the closest thing I've ever, you've heard me say this before, the closest thing I've experienced to Africa, where the community is so deeply connected, where people seem to have a profound kind of relationship to Blackness, to being just Black. Don't even talk about it. Just, hey, brother, how you doing? Kind of stuff. You go to a supermarket, you go to some of these outlets like Target and what have you, and the people who work there, the Africans who work there, they treat you like you're their cousins or somebody. This is just a remarkable place that Africans who are in St. Louis take it for granted. You know, but for me, that's remarkable. And I just wanted to say, in terms of St. Louis, it's no accident that Comrade President Luca Day is moving here, because this is the headquarters. And the fact is that one of the critical things that happened in St. Louis was the attack on our movement by the federal government, who attacked, St. Louis being one of the two cities in one of the two states that the federal government attacked our movement with armored vehicles, with automatic weapons, a whole militarized attack, and the response, the work we've done here, subsequent to that, has just been incredible. And it has played a big role. And people who might not have even known who we were before then came into a relationship with us in part through that attack, and in part to the response to that attack. And we made this the headquarters of an international movement. From here, we reached out we've created a Latin America front for the Hands Off Uhuru movement. So we're in various places throughout Latin America from this location. And there's other work. I just think that when you look at what we've done over the last year in St. Louis, it's been much more than what we've summed up to now. It's been profound what's come out of St. Louis. And I just wanted to say that. And Uhuru, comrades. Uhuru. Radio station that's coming here.
Yeah.
We've got the building, the place for it. We've got the license for the radio station. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened over the last year here in St. Louis.
Uhuru, right on. I'm super excited for all the development that's happening here in St. Louis, and it should be exciting. And it's even more important why we should be in these communities doing outreach and making sure people are aware of it, of the development that's happening here on the north side. But also you'll see, interacting with Africans here. They want to support, they want to participate, they want to be able to see themselves be their own liberators, and that is the blueprint that the Uhuru movement provides to us in St. Louis. Uhuru. There's a lot of work that we still need to do. This was important for us to do. I know that we had originally planned for this for last week. We couldn't anticipate what would be happening with the whole situation of the U.S. Kidnapping the president, rightful president of Venezuela, and as well as the first combatant, Cecilia Flores. Yes, and so that had to be addressed by the Uhuru movement. But this was really important because I do want there to be more collaborations between the branches. I do want there to be synchronized Black community rallies, not only here, but in Chicago, in New York, in all these various places where we are, to hold regular Black community rallies, like we did for the building up of the trial. That was super helpful in terms of just this whole process of codifying our membership in our branches. And so that collaboration will continue to happen. I know that last week both Chicago and New York intended on having their local executive committees here on on video and stuff like that. But we'll be looking forward to this to these in the future. But we came into InPDUM with the goal of snakifying and codifying InPDUM, and to build the international InPDUM branch. Next slide. So the current IEC, as it stands, is myself as the international president. We have Comrade Tafari Mugari. He's the international vice president of InPDUM, as well as the director of our work in Africa. He leads our work in Africa. And so all the work that you've seen in terms of the InPDUM forces and their development happening over the continent, that is the work of Tafari Mugari. And just this morning we saw comrades from South Sudan. They were right on. They were on call for the mass meeting that we had this earlier today. We have Comrade Jay Nishan coming out from Chicago. He's the international membership coordinator. Comrade Chinoye coming out of Boston. He's the international economic development coordinator. Comrade Bakri, international outreach, coming out of California, I believe Oakland. Inkuleku, the Northern Regional representative of InPDUM in the Northern region. He also is the a party representative in that region. Comrade Safari has also is the Southern Africa regional coordinator, and Comrade Morlai that we had read about a little earlier is the West Africa regional coordinator coming out of Sierra Leone. So Uhuru, these are some magnificent forces, and I'm glad to have them as the members of the IEC. Uhuru. Next slide. But we still have a number of vacant seats that we need to fill and that we're working to fill. Priorities of ours is secretary and as well as the information education coordinator. Secretary is important for myself. I've never been without a secretary, and so that is something that the comrades always make sure to voice in our in our IEC meetings. But we also have treasurer, the different regional coordinators, the Africans Charged Genocide and African Reparations Claim, the Black Community Control of Police, Black People's Courts, and as well as prison outreach. So if you want to put yourself forward, I might actually start talking to some of y'all, try to bring y'all in. So right on, Uhuru. Next slide. Currently, the first priority of the IEC is to get these IEC subcommittees built and going. So many of you some of you have already gotten in contact with the various leads and working to build and hold the first subcommittees of these IEC, like membership, outreach, economic development. And so that is something that has happened one of the things that I want is that if you are the only force or the only comrade in your area, you should be in the outreach committee, and that is because of the necessary outreach trainings and all these things that are needed to make your first recruit and to start the process of building a branch. InPDUM is a mass organization. It doesn't matter what level of political development that you're at or how much experience you have. We'll train you all throughout this process. And so that's really important. And yeah, so that's moving on. Next slide. The regional committees, building the regional committees are our next set of priorities. We'll be starting that next month. This month, the comrades are working to have their subcommittees established and to hold meetings. But we'll be building the regional committees on soon in the next coming weeks. But there's all regional representatives should have a regional committee that works to build InPDUM throughout the various regions and things like that. And so that is incredibly important. And here in the Midwest, the comrades out in Chicago had already united with this effort to build the Midwest Regional InPDUM Committee. I still got some work to do in terms of speaking with Comrade Westbrook and the comrades out there in Springfield. But that is something that we intend to have to do in this next month with all the other regions. And this also helps because if comrades are, if there's just a handful of comrades or one or two comrades in an area, this allows for additional efforts in terms of their development, collaborating with the other forces in that region, so that they're not all alone and things like that. Uhuru. But yeah, with that being said, there's still some additional committees that we're looking to fill coming on off after that. But the reason why committees are important because they are the legs of any organization. That's where the work gets done. It's in these committees. That's where accountability is held. It's in these committees, reports and so forth. And so everyone should be and must be tied, assigned to a committee. Right on. And I know coming off of Hands Off Uhuru, everything was thrown into that campaign. And so this is part of our effort to rebuild the organizational structures that are needed for us to move and operate and coordinate our work, not only here in the Midwest and the US, but globally. Or one of the subcommittees that we are looking to shape up and define as well is our Youth and Student Committee. There's some experience to be had in terms of the Black SPAC Youth and Student Working Group that will be looking to shape up here within InPDUM. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Next slide. Next slide. But transforming the day-to-day style of work to a SNCC style of work is incredibly important. Sometimes when I'm out on the road, I'll visit communities and things like that. Just try and get an understanding in terms of where folks are at in terms of their political development, what political work has been done. And many times they're left with little to no political education being done there in those communities. These communities are where the power is. And so that's where we need to be. Building these bases in those communities and as well as organizations, building organizations in those communities that reflect of the image of the forces, the people who are there in the community. And so we'll be doing some outreach, regular outreach, intensive outreach, of doing the work of mass political education among the masses of our people in these communities every day. And so you'll also see in the back a parsed out in St. Louis into different sections. Um, I do want to speak with everyone here in terms of getting a general understanding in terms of where people are at, in these various sections. We do intend to build branches coming off of these different sections in St. Louis. Uhuru. But SNCC work, doing political education among the masses every day, doing outreach. This is constant, intensive outreach in the community. Every day holding these events and actions and campaigns every week to work to achieve a particular a political project. I know that there are many things that are ongoing in terms of the Uhuru movement every day, every week, that we'll be working to bring people on over to, and to establish a foothold in these various locations and things like that. But all this effort is with the intent of bringing African people into organization to build these various committees and organizational capacities that InPDUM needs, and to build the local leadership of the African working class and the independent agency of our class. But all the work that we'll be doing in InPDUM is to get into these communities. All the work is to get into these communities, from coming before the events, after the events, going out to these communities, letting people know what happened, and as well as getting them excited and things like that. They have to see themselves in this process, as well as the success. I mean, you can see the success here. That's not, it's not just a verbal kind of thing. They can see it for themselves. Or another thing that we'll be working with the different areas and regions on is to hold regular Black community rallies like the ones that we have here. I know that different areas are holding these. It may not be weekly. It may be once a month. But we do want to struggle with them to hold these weekly. And as well as the even those areas where there isn't particularly a branch, we want to help develop this process of having these comrades hold these regular community meetings and community rallies where they're located. Uhuru. We'll do a lot of training in terms of how to put these on for the different areas and regions. Uhuru. Next slide. Next slide. All right. Some things that we'll be promoting early on here in InPDUM is a membership campaign. We'll be working to develop that as well as the Know Your Rights and Black community control of the police and the Black People's Grand Jury. I know that there's tons of work being done at the moment in terms of the southern region, and even the northern region has and Chicago. Okay, yeah. Has a number of things going on in terms of the Black community control of the police. The party plenary is this year. We'll be working to do everything that we can in terms of outreach and bring people in. It's going to be here in St. Louis. Although it's in April, it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. And April is going to be here like next week. So there's a lot of work that we need to start printing out the posters and the flyers for that and start distributing that everywhere. St. Louis Black Community Convention. This is a month-long summer project that will be occurring here in St. Louis. With the actual convention, we're looking to hold on the 27th and 28th of June. And this is open to the InPDUM membership. And as well as their base. So we'll be having an influx of forces coming out from different areas and regions throughout the U.S. Coming here to St. Louis, where the headquarters will be, and gaining actual experience in terms of SNCC work, how to organize. We'll be holding trainings, orientations. We'll be holding on-the-ground trainings in terms of how the maps are created. Folks are going to get an understanding in terms of how this works, get them excited for that in terms of this new style of work, so that they go back to their areas, start implementing these things in their locations, and start holding Black community conventions where there are. And so the purpose of a Black community convention is to win a Black community agenda that that the people unite with. And so many times it is the Democratic Party agenda or the Republican Party agenda, none of which serve our communities or our interests. We can't even see ourselves reflected in their agenda. And so we'll be working with St. Louis to build the Black community agenda that we can all push forward and begin to develop, even in the process of electoral arenas and things like that. Because that's important. These things have to be on the ballot. Or back one. The Black Power Blueprint. We do want more collaboration with the economic development, with the ODC office, and the economic development work that's being done in the Uhuru movement under her leadership. We do want to get the word out in terms of the Black Power Blueprint. This is a blueprint that every African community needs. Baltimore, Philly, Chicago, Oakland, Charlotte, and so much more. And so we'll be working to have these Black Power Blueprint brochures as part of our tabling and our regular outreach. And we'll be also working to win our communities to start supporting these institutions. They want to support it. They want to support this more than they want to support McDonald's. So let's make it happen. Building the InPDUM office, that's also another critical thing. I'm still working on with Comrade Chinoye on developing the budget and budget projections for InPDUM, so that we can start the process of developing InPDUM's economic program and start just having that being carried out in the various areas where InPDUM is located and things like that. So that's going to be important, but that's still at the beginning stages. But lastly, the InPDUM convention is September 5th through 6th. That is, I think, Labor Day weekend. Yes, it is. All right, Uhuru. All right, I already spoke up on the summer project held in June. I think it'd be interesting to also have the student conference as part of the development of the summer project. We'll be looking at either prior to June or in June itself. Anyways, so Uhuru. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Yeah, and the office is a critical thing because the African working class must have its own office in which it carries out the revolutionary work and guide that work and things like that. The NAACP has an office. No one knows what it does. But with the African people's, with InPDUM, our work is concrete. Our economic development work is concrete. You can taste Uhuru foods and pies. You can get food coming out from our gardens and things like that. But yeah. Anyways, so that's something that I'll make sure to get more reports on to y'all coming out of this process. we want to hold, we do intend to hold regular mass meetings at least once a month. And that's the importance for that. I know some of y'all may not have been able to attend this morning, but some of y'all did. And the importance of that is to, one, make sure that the organizational structures are built, but also make sure that people are getting the information in terms of the development of InPDUM and this process of centralizing this process of snakifying and codifying InPDUM. And they want to get excited in terms of the office. Or I think that's all. Okay, that was a lot. Okay, or
Okay. Touch one. One Africa. One nation. Uhuru, we're going to we run a little tight. We should have some discussion for this, but before we get to that, we want to do right quick the call to resources and membership for Comrade 4 Feet. And after that, we're gonna have some community discussion.
Fist
Fight back. Fight back.
up! Uhuru! Izwele tu. Africa. Okay, comrades, you know, I'm up here for basically 1 or 2 or 3 reasons. But the first reason is for us to build. We've got to build. We've got to build. Our goal today is $75. If you have $75, I can get to point 2. And that way we can keep moving. And you online, you also can help us with this. As you've heard already, we are building, and to build, we must have flyers. We must have posters. We must be online. We must have lights, camera. All of these things right now are not free, and we are not a governmental facility, which we take care of ourselves. And with that, we need $75. Now, if you have 75, like I just said, hold up your hand. We'll have someone to come and get it, and then I can move on to point 2. But I have $75 $20 has been placed online. And how do I know? I did it. So, so if you have 10, 20, 15, 5, 1, whatever dollar bill you have, we will gladly take it off your hands and lighten your weight. Because you know what? Your weight is our weight. Our successes is your success, and vice versa. Because we say, touch one, touch one.
I'm giving $25, Monsamelo.
All right, Uhuru, comrade. Okay, that's another. Well, we getting there, y'all. We're getting there. I said 75. I really wanted 150, but I'll take half of it, okay? And at that pace, anything we get over is always a success. And we as African people, we live for success, because every day we open our eyes, that's one more day we can fight. That's one more day we can free ourselves from the chains that's gripping our psyche, gripping our physical selves. And yeah, I'm still a little pissed off, y'all. But anyway, waking up in the morning and colonialism is enough reason for anybody to be pissed off.
Right on.
All right. All right. Now, membership, you need to be a part of the fight. That dollar you give is $1 towards freedom. Uhuru is freedom. All right. So let's have that Uhuru dollar. And in the process, let's become members of the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement. We have several levels. We can start with the George Jackson Desi Wood level, which is the membership for $5 a year. Annually, $5 a year. That's 12 months, and then 12 months come around again, you good. But that will give you the same membership rights as anybody else that have the InPDUM membership. We have the Musa Bantu level of InPDUM membership of $10 annually. That is for students and for those that are unemployed. Now, because you come in unemployed, hopefully you don't go out unemployed, and you will increase that level to a higher obligation. The general membership level is $25. Now, we can take $25 and just sneeze, and you got to pay a doctor bill. You got to go to the emergency room. You may buy medication. That won't do any of that. But what it will do is give you a lifetime of training on how to free yourself and everybody else that you know and love that have melanin from this toxic system. It's a toxic system. Okay. Become a member of InPDUM. You can go to inpdum.org/today online. And you out there online, I want you to be a member of InPDUM. You can say, you know, she told me to do this, and I do what I'm told. Okay? inpdum.org/today. You've heard all the work we got to do, right? Now, as one person, we can't do that. But as a handful or a fistful, we can get this stuff done quick, fast, and efficiently. I didn't say in a hurry. Efficiently. Membership means being a member and doing the work. It don't take all day. It don't take all week. It takes your commitment a lifetime, and it don't take long to do it. When you procrastinate, it takes longer. But when you get down and do action, that make it happen. And before you know it, you got a few new friends, you got a few new goals, and you have some memories that you cannot be taken from you. Become a member of InPDUM. It's work, but it's fun, because you know you're doing something that's making a mark for you and your family in the future. Hey, do we have anybody out there that needs to become a member? Hold your hand up. Okay, do we have anybody that needs to renew their membership? Because you make that annual commitment, that means time keep moving, and guess what? This time next year, you have to do it again. Because the fight don't stop, the needs don't stop, and we have new comrades coming every day. So guess what? Babies don't stop, and that means we got somebody else to fight for. Okay? With that being said, I am going to move and come back later and give you our total. All right? Uhuru? Uhuru? Comrade Kaumba?
Thank you, Comrade Fofi, for that resources and membership. So we just heard some great information, reports from International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Did anybody have any questions, comments, input about it that they would like to raise at this time? We can entertain some of that.
There's somebody.
Okay.
Uhuru, comrade.
No, it's question.
Or comments.
I wish I had known about y'all early. It ain't a question, it's a statement.
Right on.
But I wanted to make some remarks, but they're kind of on the tail of right before we go to Karamu. So we'll make them now and then we'll wait till everything's done.
Oh,
You do them now.
All right. Monsamela talked about the African Film Festival that he does or participates in for what do you say, employed, working class, I think that's what he said. There is an African Film Festival that happens here every year. Hopefully, it's not dependent on the funds that have been extracted from all the African programs, but it's called the African Film Festival. It's held in March, and it is a weekend event, and even have some things I think at the library affiliated with it. But the significant thing about it is that the people whose movies they show are African. You know, it's not the Europeans telling us, giving us their version of what we should be like. It is an excellent program. One year they had trials that they had put Europeans on, and they just went through that. So there are 2 movies a night that they put on there. Okay, now can I move on to Wellness Matters, which is part of all of this too? First of all, let me just give this to our chair. And then keep this one for yourself. I don't have any more. Wellness matters, and it always matters. And charcoal, bamboo toothbrushes. Just know all the benefits of charcoal. Somebody overdoses, what they do, they give them dump charcoal in their stomach, in their system, to help them, live, basically, extract that poison. Bamboo is a natural, so enough said about toothbrushes. I just want to mention something real simple about toilet paper. There was a time when I grew up, y'all remember toilet paper was real pretty. It was blue, it was green, and it was even pink. Maybe you remember that, folks. That disappeared. You notice you don't see that no more. You can't find colored tone because they realized that the dye was causing a problem. We all got relaxed and thought we were safe. Guess what they do to the toilet paper to make it look so beautiful and white?
Bleach.
That's right. So you, just like I gave the bamboo toothbrushes, we got to start looking at natural alternatives, okay? Let's see, what else? Let's see, let's see. Oh, anybody here that have blood pressure, you don't have to tell me. But just a reminder that beets and cayenne pepper are natural healers.
Mm.
And the very last thing I want to talk about is mentioned with the toilet paper is that we have a high incidence of colorectal cancer. And it starts at the rectum. And again, we're putting bleach down to some very sensitive areas, right? Whole food versus processed food. One is food and one is chemicals based. Food for thought. Uhuru.
Right on. Uhuru. Thank you so much for those health advices. Those are always needed, and I think it'd be good to start developing like a list of these somewhere, and so that we can start distributing them even in the community. Or any other questions, comments, anything like that for today? Or all right, Comrade Fofi is coming up for the resource report. Or
Oh, comrades, I want to thank each and every one of you that gave every nickel, dime, and quarter to our goal was 75, and we made $107 today. Uhuru!
Thank you very much. Thank you, comrades, for all that. So next, we're going to go ahead and, as we move to end, we're going to our announcements. Unless any of the comrades that might still be on connection with us might have wanted to make a comment or ask a question or something of that nature. I didn't see anything online on my end. Are there any questions online that I might have overlooked or didn't see? Okay. So no. So in terms of announcements, Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition presents the Uhuru 3 Speak Out 2-3 Mini Venezuelans. That's Saturday, January the 17th, 2026. It's a online discussion, so you can go to handsoffuhuru.org/register. And that starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, and 11 a.m. Pacific time. Don't forget to tune into that, to the Uhuru 3 Speak Out. And up next, we have the Black Power Blueprint presents ML Day Event of Volunteer Fair. That's Monday, January the 19th, 2026. That's going to be it's at 10 a.m. Central Time. That's here at the Uhuru House, 4101 West Florissant.
Uhuru. So this is a volunteer fair. MLK Day is also known as a day of service, and so it'll be happening here, right here in the Quabbin Hall. One of the things that we need to do, and we need your help with, is outreach. We'll be holding regular outreaches between 11:15 to I think I had listed 2 o'clock or something like that. Regular outreach. If those times don't work for you, let us know what works for you. There's also a bunch of these out there on the table so that you can distribute them, as you're going about and things like that. But I do want there to be a consistent effort of collective outreach. I think we all learned through that process. And yeah, if that's, let me know. I'll talk with you. And I'm also working to pull together some kind of Uhuru ground outreach. I forgot the formal name I had given it, but we'll be having a magnificent outreach team, and they're going to be fierce. Uhuru.
Thank you, Comrade President. Okay, next slide, we have the African National Women's Organization Cadre Development School. It's February the 28th through April the 4th this year. And it's online. You can go and register for that. You can also go to annualuhuru.org site to get more information. And there is a cost for registration by the 14th of February, $30 for members, free for lifetime members, and $60 for non-members. So don't forget to go to that. And that school is dealing with colonialism as a mode of production. And of course, every Thursday we have the R&DP by the president.
Uhuru. So every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, we hold regular InPDUM R&DP studies. This month, our study series revolve around branch building. And so throughout this entire month, we'll be going through the process of doing political education in terms of how to build a branch. This upcoming Thursday, I forgot the full name. It's a long name, but we'll be working on teaching comrades the political significance of outreach, and as well as how different types of outreach, and as well as talking about our experiences doing outreach and things like that. Anyways, it's going to be a great series that's going to be ongoing throughout this month. So please do join, and I'll make sure to let y'all know even days before.
And of course, don't forget the Burning Spear newspaper. We do have some Burning Spear newspapers on the table back here. You can always subscribe to get a bundle. Go to the burningspear.store, get a bundle, or subscribe. Get your subscription at theburningspear.com. Subscribe, and fantastic paper as always. And don't forget, of course, we talked about this before, the African People's Socialist Party International Planning Conference 2026. The theme for this year, This time, till it's won, power in our hands. It's not Trump. It's not just Trump. It's the whole damn system. So that's going to be April 17th through the 19th. You can register there. It's here in St. Louis. And you can go to apspplenary.org to register and learn any more information that is available there. So please don't forget that most powerful event that's happening here in St. Louis.
What's the name?
That is the African People's Socialist Party International Planning.
No, I mean, like, what is
The theme.
The conference.
It's plenary, and it's this time to us all.
Mhm.
Power in our own hands. And a tagline is not just Trump, it's the whole damn system.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Thank you. And so this is some more on the plenary. In every corner of the world, African people are rising up to reclaim our lives, our land, and our future. The deepening crisis of imperialism is not the result of one politician or one administration. It is the inevitable collapse of the entire colonial system. This is our moment to get organized, to build power in our own hands, and to take back everything stolen from us. The 2026 African People's Socialist Party plenary is a call to action for African workers, poor and oppressed people everywhere to refuse to live under colonial domination. Together, we are building a revolutionary movement that will overturn this parasitic system and bring about a future where African people are free and self-determining. To elaborate. So once again, that's here in the city of St. Louis. You got time to register. You got a couple of months. Going to be located 4101 West Florissant, right here on the corner of West Florissant and Alice. And so you register at apspplenary.org.
Where did you say the plenary was?
In St. Louis.
Okay, but you didn't give an address.
Yeah, I did.
What did you say?
4101 West Florissant.
No, I think it's going to be held.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Okay.
Someplace church. What's the church name of the church?
Reformation or something?
Divine.
Divine. Okay.
Everything should be on the website.
Yeah, so pardon that location that's there, but visit the website so you can get the correct location.
Register and get everything.
Next. All right, so how can you help build these rallies? We talk about this all the time. You can help with like the food security, bringing in food and donating, even sending resources. It's called Caramoo. Breaks down to being a feast for African people. You can join any of the AV team. And as Conrad Luca, they talked about distributing flyers and leaflets. That's really outreach that we can use people for this event and all the events in the movement, and any security check that we need, people to help secure the forces that come in and be around the building as well. So those are but 4 of the possibilities. There could be more. Okay, thank you very kindly. Once again, we are located at 4101 West Florissant on the corner West Florissant and Alice. We are here 3 to 5 o'clock on Sundays. So next time, if you're in the city of St. Louis, then stop by. Come on in and see us. Uhuru.